the great betrayer, versus the most down to earth guy ever.
That's a
Okay?
persuasive pitch to voters that are
Bald down to earth. Okay?
concerned about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
No, I don't.
But they made a deliberate choice to do that. So
She made a lot of mistakes. I'm not going to tell you she.
Like,
egg.
No, for sure. But I'm saying, like, to those voters, if I was in the room with those voters and I heard that was the pitch, I would be like, Jesus Christ, what is going on here? And then I would feel the desire to step in and be like, they just gave you the worst possible pitch. Please ignore that. They're terrible on this issue. They're better on these other things, and Trump will be worse on this issue, would be what I would say to them. And I would be able to demonstrate how. But I would also say that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be angry with them. But I'm just saying that, like, between that,
I don't disagree with that.
Fact, I know, but like, I'm not surprised that like voters went for Trump, because what Trump was saying, I'm going to end the war. Now, you and I are both informed, so we know when he's.
Okay, I'm going to turn off alerts. Okay, all right, hold on. Give me a second. Fuck me, dude. Give me a second. Bling, 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 bling. Okay, dude. Chill. Sound volume, turn down. Sound volume, turn down. Sound volume, turn down. Okay. All right, now it's gonna only notify me on the important stuff, okay?
It says, and
nobody donated. It was bringing on subscriptions. So someone subscribes. Like, someone can probably spam, unsubscribe, and subscribe, unsubscribe, and spam. So
the war, there's like a monkey's paw that curls, and by end the war, he means he's going to accelerate the death and destruction in Gaza.
Yeah,
end the war, and I don't think that that's what people realized that they were voting for, but it was. Because people, when they hear end the war, they're thinking like, oh, bring about like a peaceful resolution. Should they be giving Trump the benefit of the doubt? No, but a lot of voters are like low information voters, and that's like real, like they take a candidate at their word, they give him a chance, or like they look up, they see who's in charge.
By low information voters, straight right means black people.
They blame the entire, like, the Biden administration on that, or like the entire administration that's in charge on that, and then they hear out the other guy, and he's like, this person's saying that they're going to end the war, the other is finding justifications for it, I'm going with that guy.
Well, isn't this a separate discussion? Because if we're having a conversation about like the mistakes that Kamala Harris made, I would join you in your chorus of critiques against her. I mean, I have notes for how I think, like
ContraPoints' statement is putting more onus on voters than she is on Democrats. Like those types of conscious choices. Like
I actually feel bad for Hutch, okay? He has to deal with a bunch of babies all the time, okay? Babies like Pisco, babies like Straight Right, okay? He's like the ultimate babysitter, all right? Like, he has to, dude.
I'm more upset about Kamala Harris, that being her pitch to voters, given all of the access that she has to different, people.
Like, Hutch just looks like a dad that is just sick of it. I heavily vibe with not Pisco. I heavily vibe with Hutch, just mainly because he looks like he's incredibly tired of everything.
To help her with like marketing and messaging and all of the money behind her and all of the and things.
From before the election, used Palestinian as a slur.
He has access to.
But we're not talking about them though. No. We're not talking about them though. Like, in retrospect,
they're relevant. We have to talk about them.
I mean, I do.
But we are talking about it because ContraPoints is like, there was too much heat for Democrats and not enough, and that might have contributed to the re-election of Trump.
Do you disagree with that though?
Wait, well, can I just say on this point, and then maybe you'll understand where I'm coming from on it?
Okay, sure.
Like, that's what she says. That like, you're focusing too much on the party in power, and you're not, working to prevent like a future harm. And one, I know that these are not mutually exclusive, but it's not irrational or wrong for people to demand accountability for the people that are currently in charge, currently transferring the weapons, currently contributing to the death count in Palestine. And
do you think those are
that's where they feel the pressure needs to be exerted?
But her point is that they had completely unreasonable demands that had no chance of succeeding. That's her point.
Demands were a permanent ceasefire for the most part. Like, all of these, can you name a single figurehead, of this movement? Because it's a grassroots, atomized movement, right?
Yeah, great arc change.
Wait, what is it?
To be fair, I think, Hutch is kind of like, isn't Hutch kind of like retired streamer. He's not a retired streamer, right? Not technically so. But like if he genuinely still wants to make it, you know, he could have done the old content that he could have done before, right? But the reason why he doesn't do the old content anymore is probably because it's like no longer it's no longer like, I don't know, feasible, not feasible, but like not feasible. It's like he wants to do the content that he actually wants to do now that he's set, right? Like he already is set, so you know he doesn't have to focus so much on like growing, right? I think that's what's going on.
The question?
Can you name? This is not like a constant.
Hutch entertaining. This low IQ babble kind of makes me sad. Yeah, but it's content, okay? Like Hutch is probably getting like donos and like everything off of this, so you know what? I kind of respect the hustle. Like I would do it too. Like fuck it, I'll debate straight away on this shit, right? I would do it too.
Concentrated movement beyond the uncommitted movement, which she doesn't mention. There was not like a concentrated, there's not one head person that's leading this grassroots organization. There were protests that naturally and organically spawned up in college campuses and cities across the United States, all over the place, that attracted lots of different people. I'm sure primarily people that are more liberal, progressive, left in their politics, but I wouldn't be surprised if it attracted some Republicans or independents in some instances. But there is no like centralized or one person in charge of this. These are grassroots movements that like have a common cause, which is opposing the genocide and calling for a ceasefire.
But it wasn't just that, though. It wasn't just that. If it was just that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It wasn't just that. It was anti-Zionism. It was they wanted Israel as it currently exists.
Who is they? Who is they?
The broad leftist Palestinian advocates, activists.
Online.
Well, she comes from media. Well, I mean, do you disagree? Like, if we went to like, we're talking about, she's in media spaces, and so I do think she is speaking to like other creators as well as their communities primarily when she writes this post. Can you give me a single prominent leftist creator that wasn't an anti-Zionist, and more specifically that didn't think that Israel should be dissolved and replaced with a single state and full right of return? Like a single one of them?
I'm asking you to give me a single one that, like which ones are you thinking of again? You're saying that
all of them, like, all of them, literally all of them. Yeah.
You know for sure that's all of their positions. You watch them?
Well, can you think of a single? I do actually. I watch a lot of leftist content, but like, can you give me an example of a single prominent leftist content creator that was not advocating?
Wait, he watches like leftist content in his free time? Yeah, that's fine. I just find it funny that he's like putting himself through the pain of like watching leftist content. Why would you do it? I wouldn't ever watch like I don't know, like fucking like some people in my free time. There's no shot. Hassan, he should just say Hassan. Yeah,
advocating for a one-state solution.
True.
Well, I don't watch a lot of these leftist content creators or whatever. Like I don't watch like the Vanguard regularly. I've never watched Hassan. Like I don't watch these people. So like her characterization of it is one hyper focusing on a very, very small part of like the electorate. I thought that all of the memes is that these people are irrelevant because they don't even vote. So we don't even know that they're voting. So to me, it would be like she's talking about people and she's talking in very vague specifics, and it's hard to know like who are you talking to? Are you talking
vague specifics?
A specific person?
That's an
vague specifics. Sorry. She's making specific criticisms of very, very like vague online groups that I don't know who she's referring to, and I can't know if she is actually accurately characterizing them or it's a straw man or a caricature of what she assumes.
I mean, so like if we just, who are the prominent leftist streamers on Twitch, for example, it's going to be, Hassan Denims, Mike from PA, and then you have like lesser known creators like Frogan and Sean DeBlack, and when we think of like Second Thought, there's plenty of like leftist content creators that just do a lot of posting on Twitter. A lot of them just do YouTube VOD stuff like Second Thought. Literally all of them were explicitly anti-Zionist and were defining as a part of their goal the end of the...
You just said that they're like irrelevant like nobodies.
I didn't say that, first of all. Wait, who said that?
I agree with that they're irrelevant nobodies for the most part.
I don't agree. I mean, I agree with her.
Except for Hassan. Those people are like Mike from PA and like Frogan and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, he's a pretty big streamer on Twitch.
Like nobody.
Well, I mean, no, but we're talking about the entire ecosystem. Like, I'm sure you can find me like a handful of like leftist people that create content that were sort of like open to, like Vosh signaled an openness to a two-state solution. But in that context, he was saying that has to be kind of a stepping stone to a one-state solution. Like, Are you really fighting me on this idea that anti-Zionism was explicitly a part of this movement, even at the college campus protests? And
because she is making broad generalizations and not grounding the criticism or aiming it specifically at certain people, and it's a characterization that like I don't have a way to know because I'm not as online as her, and her timeline is different than mine. And it's different than yours, and our timelines are algorithmically generated to be specifically catering to what we already engage with.
Okay.
So it becomes self-fulfilling. So it's possible to lose perspective and not realize that like the timeline that you're seeing is manicured to your specific preferences, and it might not actually be indicative of what you think it is.
Okay.
Because you have to keep into account other things. I mean, you look at me like I'm crazy, but
imagine thinking Aaron, dude. Also, I don't think she's telling the truth either. I don't like she talks about like not being in touch with these lefties or anything like that, right? But isn't she buddy with President Sunday? Am I missing something here? Isn't she buddy with President Sunday? What? This person is like staunchly a pro-Palestine kind of guy. He's like a pro-Palestine kind of guy, right?
you know that's how those algorithms work, right? They're self-reinforcing.
I mean, I understand that. I'm just saying, like I literally
personal echo chamber, and that characterization might be accurate, but then she extrapolates it to the online left TM broadly, and it's hard for me to judge the accuracy of it when you talk in these very, very vague and broad generalizations.
I don't think she's being vague at all, though. She's being hyper specific with her critique, and like, I think you would have more of a leg to stand on at this part in the conversation if you literally could give me a single leftist creator that doesn't support a one-state solution. And if we want to even remove creators from the discussion already, like, you had college campuses where the students were blocking off access to specific parts of the university for Zionists. Anybody they deemed to be a Zionist, they would just physically block.
Yeah, that should never happen. But
it's crazy, but it illustrates the point.
Somebody mentioned Sam Cedar. Sam Cedar was like not calling for that.
There's one. All right, there's one. You got one. That's true.
Sam Cedar and somebody else who's saying Hassan was fiercely pushing for Kamala to do a ceasefire and weapons embargo.
And he's also explicitly anti-Zionist. He's asking for a one-state solution with a full right of return and war tribunals.
So him being like
legit manipulation, she's so good at it. I don't even know if she's like actively thinking, okay, how can I worm my way through this conversation right now? Maybe she's just so used to being a little worm. Who the fuck knows at this point, right?
Was he asking Kamala Harris to be anti-Zionist?
No, I'm saying that movement mandated.
If his motivation for it is anti-Zionist, but the goal and the tangible request is still just a ceasefire and a weapons embargo, what does it matter that it comes from that place?
Because it was a cultural marker. Like, it was if I walked into Cenk
is pro two-state. Cenk is pro two-state, apparently.
Is he still a leftist? Are we calling him a leftist? I'm talking about leftists. You know, he's like a progressive.
The online left includes liberals to me.
Dude, no one knows who the fuck Cenk is at this point. Okay, Cenk is like a fucking jack of all trades, master of none. Okay,
but she specifically said leftist Palestinian activists. She specifically said that. Like, if I walked on
online leftist Palestinian,
yeah, but Destiny isn't considered a leftist.
Palestinian activist.
Well, not just, I would say, online activist.
I'm not happy with Cenk's behavior as of late, but I'd still say he's a liberal.
I mean,
he's still at least a Democrat.
I don't know if he's a leftist though, but so if I walked on any of those college campuses, and I walked up to.
She just said libs are leftists? Okay, that's a weird thing to say. Because who defines things like that? Conservatives define things like that, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure conservatives say that liberals are leftists. Like, to them, it's the same. But, like, I don't get why she's saying that. Like, that makes no sense to me.
A group and said, literally any of them, and said, hey guys, I want to be a part of this. I want to support this, but I'm also a Zionist. Can I stay here?
But we're just talking about I thought
all of them.
Online.
No. I'm not. I don't think she's just.
ContraPoints is just talking about that. You said she's talking about the online left, and now you're saying she's talking about
no.
things in the real world that I can't know because.
Wait, hold on. It can be both.
Chink, he hates the Democrats. Yeah, he hates the Democrats. So yeah, I don't know why Chink was brought up as an example too. I think Chink can be considered a leftist. I actually do think Chink can be considered a leftist. Yeah, I do think so. Because he's retarded. That's why, okay? My criteria for who's a leftist is how fucking retarded they are.
It can be
very vague terms.
It can be both, though. Like she said, leftist Palestinian activists. So that includes online creators, but it also includes people like what we saw in like the college campus protests. So like,
Did
you know,
she mention that? It could include that, but does she mention that?
I feel like it's a really specific thing to do like 3 qualifiers: leftist Palestinian activist. Do you, I mean, like,
she's saying online left.
No,
funny. She's not. She said,
yeah, Chink is pretty funny until you notice that he actually has a prominent voice in mainstream media.
No, hold on. Let me full. Where?
He's like Piers Morgan's fucking favorite guest at this point. Like fuck. he's like Piers Morgan's fucking baby child.
Did she say that? Hold on.
Bitterness. Much of the online left spent all of 2024 single-mindedly focused on Palestine and the complicity of Democratic politicians in sending aid to Israel. This campaign had the following effects, and she goes from there. She's not talking about in-person protests or colleges or anything like that. She's specifically talking about the online left.
Oh, hold on. Let me get to the. So in part 2, misery, it says the leftist pro-Palestine movement. So I think she's speaking to like a lot of different things right now. And I mean, would you agree that like online creators have a lot of influence, especially in the wait, you don't think?
Well, they have some influence.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a hot minute there. Wait a second. You don't think that the 2024 outcome clearly demonstrated that alternative media is enormously impactful?
Oh, for sure. I'm not downplaying the concept of alternative media, but you asked me specifically the online left. Do they have that impact? The answer is no. I wish they did, but they don't. Hassan's entire.
She's absolutely confused. Dude, Straighter Raid is like she's like just some mofo, dude. You get me? She's like a humegalo. Like it's not like she has a prominent voice or anything. She has like a 1.39k YouTube channel. Listen, I'm not here to shit on like smaller content creators, but I will, okay? But I'm just saying, it's like, why does she feel like she has a leg to stand on when it comes to political analysis like that? Like, why does she feel as though she is allowed to speak on this as if she is like an expert on it, right? Like, here's the thing: if you're small, if you don't actually have a voice, I think you should start like citing and explaining why you think it is like this, or give some really good examples at least, right? I don't think I'm a large content creator, but I think I can at least reasonably explain my viewpoints pretty damn well, actually. Yeah, I actually do think so. So yeah, again, it's just like makes no sense to be this confident in things you're talking about without any good evidence for anything. Again, while being a fucking hindsight Andy, right? And fucking hindsight Andy. Oh yeah, they should have done this. They should have done that. Okay, dude. Okay, dude. All right, dude. Go. You run for office then. You care so much about this? Run for office. Go. Go. Go, buddy. Go, buddy. Go.
Our audience could have voted for Kamala Harris, and I don't know that she would have won.
Well, nobody's making that case though. Nobody's making that case. She didn't make that case.
Do you notice how she's doing the hindsight Andy thing?
Case. Well,
Wait, you just said, like, don't you think that they're massively influential? And I said, no, I think it has to, I wish it were larger than that. But when I think about, like, the online, like, alternative media ecosphere, it's dominated by the right. It's like the Flagrant Pod, like, what is it? Like Joe Rogan. It's like those people, right? They're huge. I wouldn't say that, like, Hassan is like, he's at the end of it. Like, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, those people are way bigger.
You don't think that the online leftist activist movement is like well, we were talking about algorithms a minute ago. I felt like in 2023, 2024, they were showing up on the timeline constantly with massive engagement.
Your timeline is, again, manicured to your specific preferences and what it thinks is it's trying to maximize your personal engagement.
Okay.
So.
Oh my god, dude. Then he should ask, okay, what do you think other people's fucking timelines look like, mate? What do you think other people's timelines look like? Do you think that in general we can make any kind of statement about anything? Do you think that we can't make any kind of statement anymore about, like, on average, what do you think people of Twitter look at on their timeline? Is like we can't make any kind of affirmative statements now because nothing means anything, and as long as you have like the whole entire like, oh, you don't know what it looks like for your timeline excuse, that she can just keep on dodging this question. Bro, fuck me, dude. This is like actually so Weasley.
It's your timeline, right? So like politics is more than just my timeline, it's more than just your timeline.
Well, we can quibble about, I mean,
atmosphere, just because I never see Joe Rogan, which I don't.
So
I know that
stupid,
he's huge.
dude.
Just because I never see these like the like trigonometry in my pod or anything like that, I cannot say that like, oh, they don't even matter. They don't even show up on my timeline. Clearly it matters, right?
well, I mean, we can quibble about like how much influence they have, but I just want to point out that that's not the point of this post necessarily. She highlights in this post. She says
crazy for
she says
they don't. They have, that needs to be contextual.
Well, hang on. Let me explain. Just read from what she wrote. She said that in some small part, this movement may have helped to contribute Donald Trump's win. What that means is that maybe the movement is not big enough that it single-handedly swayed the election. And the outcome of this election was a convincing win for Donald Trump. It was still tight in the margins when you restrict it to like 3 states. It was like 120,000 votes would have made the difference or something like that. So it's still technically a close race, but he ran away with it, won all 7 swing states. And if I can craft a metaphor to sort of like make the point, you know, like if you have a small city where there's 100 people that vote in an election, and one guy wins with 55 votes and the other person.
Is this a tonality meta debate? Yes, because that's all leftists want to dabble in. All leftists want to do is dabble in tonality and meta debates, okay? Because they can't argue about anything else.
Loses with 45 votes.
So
you can't point to one specific person to say it's your fault that they won, but as a collective, you say you all sort of partly share the blame. And what she's saying is that anybody who sat out this election or supported a ridiculous candidate like Cornel West or Jill Stein in some small part contributed to Donald Trump's win. And she's tying it to this movement. Like, not everybody who didn't vote was because of frustration of Gaza, but because the situation was intractable and the demands that they were trying to throw out there were literally impossible to accomplish. And because they spent the entire election shitting on Democrats for their complicity in what was going on in Gaza, not even touching Republicans' own complicity, they were equally involved, not even touching the threat that Donald Trump posed, that depressed turnout to some degree. I don't even think you would disagree with that, right? Like, we can imagine a young person being like, I can't do it, can't vote, can't do it. I mean, there were like Mike from PA was telling people like,
I can imagine it, but I don't think that people have this idea because of Mike from PA or Hassan put it in their brain. I think that they can just see headlines.
Well, it's about the conglomerate, dude. It's never one specific, like, person who has enough influence to sway the entire electorate of millions and millions of Americans. But it is a collection of leftists who have enough influence to the point where they influence a small amount of group of people enough so then, by small amount of group of people, I mean like millions of people, okay? A small amount of group of people to the point where, yeah, they are actually able to sway the vote. Because some counties, listen, some counties and some states, okay? They need like, what, how many more people? Maybe like a few hundred more people, a few thousand more people. If these thousands more or hundreds more were people that listen to Hassan and then stop voting for the Democrats, yeah, that is actually a significant fucking difference, actually. Right? This isn't just something that you can just brush aside, right? Yeah, because at that point you are costing real electoral votes that way. That's what you're doing. See, this is like it's just like saying, oh, the Borg cube. It's that one Borg drone that did all of the damage, but you can't blame the entire Borg cube for that. Well, guess what? I will actually blame the entire Borg cube for that, right? Do you think Natalie's post was held back rhetorically by giving ground to the genocide claim? No, not even. It's fine. Like, fuck. I think that like you can say that, yeah, a genocide happened, but at the same time bash the left a lot. But fuck, you know what? Fuck. No, I do actually think it's held back a little bit rhetorically. I think that she should have gone harder. She should have gone harder against the leftists because she clearly had a lot more off her like chest that she wanted to say.
Lines
right?
and photos of the
Metaphorically, not sexually.
Of the death and destruction that's coming out of Gaza that the United States is complicit in, the Democrats are complicit in, and that in and of itself is
But I think the reason why she said the genocide point is because it wasn't just rhetorically. She probably thought that it wasn't good rhetorically. I think what she was thinking in her mind is, I want to tell the truth. I want to tell the truth about what I think about it. And I do actually think she believes that it's a genocide. But it's just that she would rather sacrifice a little bit of rhetorical points just so she can make known like what her beliefs actually is, right?
demoralizing.
I don't know how to look there's no way for us to.
Do you agree with that at least? That has more of an impact than Mike from PA's comment editorialization surrounding that set of those events. Those events themselves are alienating to people.
It seems to me like you're trying to make the case that, online leftist spaces are just small beans, little creators that have collectively.
But Hutch, please answer my question, then I will address that. I promise you.